So who's me?
Right.
Right.
Mrs. Mackenzie.
Mrs. Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she used to get allocated so many pounds and so many ounces, whatever, to divide by the few people that she had.
With ration
on the
books.
ration book.
On the ration books, yeah.
But she used to go up into Burscough to get these, and many times she'd brought back what she needed, and she hadn't got nothing for herself. Little things like that. And I've sat with her many times while I was coming back from Burscough Market, and she's a grand old lady, but sadly, like a lot more, they're gone. So.
And that was Mrs. Mackenzie
That was Mrs.
by the Bull and
Mackenzie.
Dog.
Yeah.
Right, Bull and
It
Dog,
was 2 ounces of this and 2 ounces of that
yeah,
one.
yeah, it
Oh,
was.
that's all we could have. Going
Yeah.
with ration book and
Do you remember it?
I do love.
What was you just there on the borders of the rationing, going off?
Well, I was born in 1940, so the ration books were with us
She were, yeah.
all
yeah,
that time, and then
yeah.
after the war we had the ration books.
Yeah.
And
Well, we were married in 54, and it was still tail end of it.
that was the tail end of
I
it
used to give
then.
Tommy my for toffee rations.
What's
Because
that, love?
I used to give him my toffee rations, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Coupons.
Toppy coupons.
I didn't need them because Mum and Dad had a shop and I could have as many as I want, and really I didn't eat sweets till I met him.
When I was in the RAF, she used to send me the coupons.
You'd be in the RAF then. How long was you in the RAF for?
2 years.
You did the 2 years?
Yeah.
Where was your station at?
RAF Felixstowe in Suffolk.
Felixstowe.
If you can imagine a lad from Burscough who'd never been any further than Blackpool in his life, and you go and get your calling up papers and you get posted to RAF Felixstowe in Suffolk. I've told this many times, it's no story, this is true. You used to get out of our house and walk up Abbey Lane and get a bus to Burscough, walk round to the station, get on the train, go to Exchange Station, get off there, walk across Liverpool to Lime Street, get on the train there to go through to London, get off at Euston, get off at Euston, go on to the underground to Liverpool Street Station, 2 rounds, get off at Bank, go round again, get off at Liverpool Street again, get on a train to Ipswich.
Was it worth it?
When I got to Ipswich, to get off at Ipswich, get on a bus to Felixstowe, then had a mile and a half to walk back to camp after that. It took 12 hours.
12 hours.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was 2 years, they used to get a leave, a 7-day leave and a 14-day leave. Them was the only two twice I could get home. They had a 72-hour pass, and there was a 48-hour pass.
Couldn't
We were
get
not
there
used
and
to
back.
Couldn't go anywhere.
No.
I know I was getting to home, say hello and say to her, you know.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Yeah,
12 hours it used to take me to get to camp, and that was it.
What part did you do? What was you doing in the RAF?
Ground equipment.
Ground equipment.
Yeah. I'll show you one.
We used to go up in aeroplanes and do circuits and bumps, they were called,
Yeah.
taking off what you say sounds what it is, because it was. Just taxiing off and then taking up into the,
Down.
doing the right run round, then coming down into the water, because there were water things there like big, I don't know what they're, ballasts or something, keep them on top.
They used to leak. No, we never had much to do with that because it was a special. But the Sunderland flying boats, we had Sunderland flying boats and walrus.
We'll do a better copy of that later, so we've got a lovely flat copy. Now, was this a jet one?
Yeah, yeah.
Did it go, this camp went into the army, didn't it?
Wallow?
Didn't the camp go into an army base?
No,
Are you sure?
no. When I left there, it was still going on as RAF.
Oh, well, it must have been quite a bit.
So you did your 2 years
Before it.
and then you came back.
Yeah. Do you know what they did when you was coming to the end of your time?
Yeah.
They got all the lads who was going to be finishing in a fortnight, and it was in the canteen. The flight sergeant said, right, open your ears everybody, there's some information that might interest you. You're all going to get demobbed in about a fortnight, as you're aware of. Now anybody who wants to stay in, he said, we can fix you with 7 and 6 a day and 2 stripes. Well, I was on the ordinary LAC,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I was listening like a lot of others, and I thought, bugger this, I'm getting out of this, I've had enough, 2 years of this is enough. And I said to the flighty after I'd finished, I said, just 2 stripes, what's it for? He said, well, if you get the 2 stripes in 7 and 6 a day, he said, we start a parade ground, grooming all the other lads that just joined up, left, right. I said, oh, aye, I'm full of that, aren't I? I'm not going to stand on a parade ground shouting my head off for the rest of my days. So I said, no thanks, I'll take my D-bob. And I left.
And that was it.
Yeah, I'll tell you like a story about when I was working on ground equipment. Flight sergeants we called chiefies. I was put on ground equipment this particular day, and it was to do with painting, you know. So I went to the stores and up to the bob hall, and Chiefy Freeman was in the bob hall at that day. I said, Chiefy, I'm on painting today, can you give us a pair of overalls, please? So he goes to the racks, he pulled these overalls out, and he slung them through the box, and you just sign for them, you know, and sign them back in again. He throws these at me, you know, and I gets outside and I puts them on, and the sleeves were like this. You couldn't see my hands, they were that big, and I couldn't walk either because they were standing on my pants, you know. So I took it all off, I rolled it all up again, I went back to Bob Hall, said to Chief Ruin, this is no good, Chief. I said, it's far, far too big, and put it back through, signed it back in again. He gave me another one, and when I got out there, he went like this. I said, have you seen this here? He said,
It's like around your back.
I'm
isn't it?
swearing now. Bugger off, you're not at Burton's now.
You know what means.
And that was it. I had to wear them.
Oh dear.
Stuck with them.
Aye. It was alright. It was a good, in a lot of ways, area Felix though. You started work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you finished at 4,
Yeah.
and you had an hour and a half for your lunch, you know, dinner time. And at the weekend, when you finished at 4 o'clock, you didn't go back in there to work till 8 o'clock on Monday morning. So, I mean, you wouldn't call it a hard life, you know. It was necessary, it was busy, you know, and to get it right, you know.
It was your 2 years national
Yeah.
service.
I did, when I went off ground equipment, they got a new officer in the flight orderly there, and his name was Balfour, Flight Lieutenant Balfour, and he wanted somebody to be his dog's body, as they call it, you know.
Yeah.
So I was elected, wasn't I? But you didn't get a choice, you was elected. You just look around and say,
Get
right,
in
well,
there, yeah.
went in the office and got groomed to what I had to do. And you had to sign all these documents out, because these aircraft, these Sunderlands, used to do what they call circuits and bumps, testing the holes, because the lads in the rigging section used to put new skins on,
Yeah.
paste them up, plane them, make it all serviceable, and then they'd take it out onto the water, doing circuits and bumps, taking off and landing, you know. And I used to have to go with this fly, Louis, and not like a civilian aircraft. It's all like Dexton inside, and you would walk where you could, you know,
Yeah.
finish up sitting on an iron frame. And he was doing all the necessary, the flight Louis, and I had a book and a case, and he just asked me for certain documents, and I just passed them to him, you know.
Yeah.
And we used to fly around Harwich Harbour and over the Hook of Holland and back again. It took about 4 hours all this. You were up there for God knows how long, you know. And coming down in circus and bumps and I was on that for about 14 months till they got demobbed.
Oh, that wasn't so bad then.
No, it was all right. But I used to have to go back into the office with all the documents, sign them all back into the correct places. Because I'm not being funny when I say this, but you signed the Official Secrets Act when you went there
Yeah,
and swore to the King, you know,
yeah.
the Queen. And all this stuff had to be signed in, it all had to be rectified. And there was another book that they used to put me in, as big as that thing there. It had ministry orders in it. And when I first went there in there, these ministry orders hadn't been done for about nearly 10 months. And I had to go through them all. And I finished up amending some that I just amended.
Yeah,
You know, they'd gone down that back.
yeah.
And when I finished it all off, I had to put it back in the files, sign it all in, knock on the door, telling me where it was, and it's all unfinished and everything. And all he got was a nod of the head, and that was it. But it was the way it worked.
But you didn't have a bad time, really, did you?
No.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it did.
Like going a little bit further back now, to when you were a young lad, and they were building number 2 camp
Yeah.
and doing the
Oh,
ringtail.
yeah.
What's your memories on that?
Well, going up Abbey Lane, on the left-hand side, there was either 3, I can't remember whether 3 or 4 mess nuts that the sailors were in.
Yeah,
And when you got to the camp gates, across from the camp gates was a wooden hut, and there was a man by, I think his name was Mr. He was a Liverpool gentleman. He sold cigarettes and tobacco and newspapers and stationery for the sailors, you know. And he had me and Ronnie delivering papers on the camp for him from time to time, you know.
yeah,
And when we got on the camp, we got very familiar with some of the sailors, you know. He used to take us a picture out on camp.
on the camp. Yeah.
We'd sit there for about an hour watching films, you know. And then they said, right, come on, we're going to get some dinner now. They took us into cookhouse and fed us up. Because we'd never been home from school, like, you know. Anyway, when that was finished, another thing they did, they had a gardening competition. Well, our garden was full of Michaelmas daisies and lupins, masses of them. And he said, can you get us some plants, lads? So we got some plants. So we got a barrow out and we dug a load of these lupins and Michaelmas daisies and took them up to the camp to them, you know. And he gave me a tin with all tobacco in it. That's for your dad.
Oh, how nice.
Now then,
Hey?
tin of tobacco for my dad. He did his plans to her. My dad appreciated it because, I mean, stuff was hard to come by, never always on, you know. And these lads, there was some smashing lads, you know. There were Aussies and there was New Zealanders. When they'd been in the cookhouse and they'd been on duty, if they got into the cookhouse and there wasn't enough seats for, say, there was 8 or 10 of them to sit together, 2 there, 1 there, no, they didn't want that. You used to get the money, the dinner out at the cookhouse on a plate, for another plate on top of it, and they'd walk round to their billets. And they'd all sit there having a meal, you know. And when they'd finished, they'd go out to the door and throw them away like a, you know,
Like a frisbee.
yeah,
That's
like a
it,
frisbee.
that's right,
And they all
that's
finished up
right.
at Clayhall, in British Clayhall. This happened many, many times. My mother had more plates in her pantry than they had. Me and Ronnie used to go and collect them.
You and Ronnie used
And
to
they
go
were
and pick them up.
big thick things too, you know, really thick. They could throw them as far as you wanted, they wouldn't break. Must have had about 2 dozen, and fancy. Mother said, don't bring any more. You know, they were, this is the way they were. Things like that happened, and they used to have the stove that they had in the counter in the village. They were them duck eggs, coal light, you know.
Oh yeah, the pressed.
They had to burn in a stove.
Yeah.
They used to go to the wall, they threw them over and all. Well, we used to collect them in a barrel, take them home, and I coal place in Cornwall. There must have been about 400 weight of these coal things. And my dad used to put them on fire at night time. He used to take them off again next morning. They hadn't burned. They glowed,
Yeah.
but they didn't burn away.
No.
You could keep lighting and burning and lighting and burning. They were made for a stove. They weren't made for an open fire, you know. We finished up after a good number of months, putting them back in barrels, taking them, chucking them back in the clay hole. That's a road.
You might have gone off-road round Burscough now.
Well, love.
You might have gone off-road round Burscough.
Aye. Anyway, like I said, things like that,
Yeah.
they were smashing lads, them sailors, you know, and they weren't vulgar at all, you know, there was no nastiness. And like when Phyllis used to come down the road to see me down at Abbey Lane, the lads were whistling after Phyllis, weren't they?
I'm not surprised seeing the photograph.
Were they?
Oh, honestly, I was really horrible.
She used to have an arm going,
Yeah,
walking that road.
I couldn't walk and not use both out. Shalloping off there, you know.
Aye.
Oh.
And she used to be nearly running by the time she got to her. I said, what's up? She said, them lads up there have been whistling again.
Oh, whistling again.
Yeah, what about that night when I come to meet you on bike?
Oh, aye.
This is
We're there living in Skemersdale.
true, but
I
coming
mean,
here
living
to
down
visit.
there, when we were first courting, used to go across the railway, down Cinder Track,
Yeah.
through Westhead, up Little Wood and through Westhead to Skem.
Yeah.
Well, Castle Lane, I don't know Castle Lane, up from
Alton Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
the big long wood along on the left hand side and open fields on that side,
That's
you know.
right, yeah.
Well, I went to meet Phyllis many nights, you know. Well, when dark nights came, I still went to meet her, you know. And I just started up Castle Lane and I saw this light coming. I thought, oh, it'll be Phyllis, you know. And she got about 300 or 400 yards off me in dark. Next thing, it turned round and it went off. I thought, it can't be Phyllis, this. She would have kept coming, you know. So I had a 3-speed on, I got 3-speed going and I was going like hell. And she had a bike, and there was no 3-speed on, and I couldn't catch her at all. I said, what's going on? She said, I didn't know who you were.
No.
She thought it, didn't you?
I was pedaling, local,
You
pedaling.
thought it was somebody else?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't want that.
because it was dark, in dark nights you could see, but in dark nights you couldn't see who we were.
No, no.
So she wasn't taking any chances either. Aye,
They're funny little things, aren't they, that happen?
aye.
They're lovely memories though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it.